This upgrade to Adagio Payables version 9.3b has significant improvements, especially in system check processing. When you first open System Check Run Entry, you will now see a grid because it is possible to have more than one concurrent check run in progress, perhaps for different banks or payment methods. Whenever an invoice or other transaction type is included in a check run, the outstanding balance will be updated so that it won't allow a duplicate payment from another system check run or a manual check batch. Check runs have statuses to track progress, from simply creating the run, to printing the pre-check register report, to editing payment amounts, and even when a print run was cancelled. Check runs can also be deleted if they have not yet been printed and posted. There is a new approval status that can be optionally enabled in the company profile to require someone to approve the paid list of invoices before the payments can be printed and posted. The user, date, and time of the approval is stored with the check run. If you want to limit access to various tasks within a system check run, security can now be defined to allow users to edit a check run and generate the payment list, or delete an unwanted list, or approve the payments, or print an EFT and post the payments. If you are submitting payments by EFT, there may be a maximum amount that you can submit. You may choose to include an EFT maximum value on the bank, which is displayed at the top of this screen, and you will be prevented from starting the EFT process if the total check run amount is larger than this. When you print the pre-check register report, the option to suppress vendors with no net payment has been expanded so that individual invoices that won't be paid are also suppressed on this report, only listing paid invoices. On the Payments tab, the generated list of invoices is now displayed on the bottom half of the screen, and a vendor payment summary is displayed at the top, which can be sorted by vendor, name, or amounts, along with the payment list grid below. The relative grid sizes can be adjusted with the splitter bar. If you double-click on a vendor row, or highlight one or more vendors and choose the selected details only, just the invoices and other unapplied transactions for the selected vendors will be shown in the grid. If you don't want to pay any invoices for a vendor, you can highlight the summary record and press the space bar to set the net payment value for all of them to 0. When you are ready to create the payments and choose to start the print or EFT process, the feature to make an automatic backup of the data before starting is now available for system checks. If a payment control was applied to an invoice after the payment list was finalized, a screen will appear indicating that total payments have changed and let you decide to continue with the processing or not. If you are printing checks, you now have the option to print them in a sequence other than vendor number order. After checks have been printed or the EFT file generated, you are asked if the process completed successfully. Instead of leaving that question open and potentially blocking other users from doing work, there is a new third option to park the check run. This allows you to pause the system check run without leaving the process open, then return and resume the run when you have confirmed success or failure. You can repark the run if necessary, indicate that some or all payments failed, or continue with the process, including creating PDF copies of the payment details if you also use Adagio DocStore. If you choose to print or email additional forms for vendors to give them payment details, there is a setting on the vendor to indicate the preferred way to receive the advice, in addition to the allowed ways. And you can create additional forms to match the vendor preferred method. When additional forms are emailed, there is now a new advice email address if the recipient is different than the main vendor contact. When this is complete, you will be asked if you want to post the checks, and choosing yes will finish the process. Allow printing the check register if this auto-prints after posting, and hide the check run from this grid. All system check runs of any status, either in progress, deleted, or printed and posted, still have their information maintained and can be investigated from the Inquiries menu and System Check Runs. This inquiry will display check runs from either the current year or the previous year before year-end processing, with the most recent run at the top, similar to batches in Batch Status Inquiry. Summaries above by check run status and by bank are also available. Check runs with a status of pre-check allow you to reprint the pre-check register report from here. Check runs with a posted status allow you to print the check register posting journal report, and also reprint additional forms for the run, either for all vendors or from a selected vendor range. And a new System Check Status report is available to print summary information for a range of check runs for selected banks, perhaps for particular statuses, for either the current or previous year. This report is also available to print from the Reports menu and the General Reports submenu. In previous versions, it was possible to set a user preference to automatically add a new distribution detail to a batch entry after one was saved. Now an additional option for Auto Add Entry has been included, so that when a batch entry has been saved, a new entry screen appears. The option for disallowing the edit of imported batches has now been expanded to include retrieved batches, such as from Adagio bank rec or purchase orders. When editing any batch type, if a system problem prevented a batch from being saved correctly, a prompt is available to restore the contents of an auto-saved file for this batch. When editing a manual check payment entry, you can now right-click on the Transaction Details grid to sort either by the document number, due date, or document date. This can assist in locating desired invoices to pay. And the ability to park check printing or EFT submission is also available in manual check batches, as well as system checks. There have been a few improvements and features for reports. This upgrade converts the data file for the check number audit list report in a new structure that allows printing and purging a portion of the contents instead of everything. Checks can be printed for a specific date range, and even individual check runs if more than one is done in a day. And you can also print the checks generated for just the most recent sequence only. Transaction reports, such as the aged overdue payables, support changing the report date to calculate as of then, including reading history when necessary. This could take some time if history is large or never purged. Now, you can set in the company profile the number of days to read history when printing a report backdated to before the last period end date, up to 999. Choose a number large enough to ensure that any historical transaction that could have been current as of the report date prints, but not so large so that the report takes too long to print. Printing report sets is now able to email reports as PDF attachments when Adagio Doc Store is integrated, and PDF document is the output destination. Choose one or more recipients to receive the email, which will be sent with the attachments in addition to saving the PDFs. If you use Adagio Console to automate tasks, you can also specify that the report set PDFs are attached to the automation log email, using new settings for the email PDF log command to attach the PDFs, as well as overwrite or append the log. If you print the ledger transactions report as part of a report set, there is a setting for consolidating the report details, but no setting for how to consolidate. Now, there is a new company profile setting for consolidating ledger transactions, which will be used when this report is printed and consolidated from a report set, and also as the default value when printing this report manually.